Oh, welcome to another episode of our live stream, My Journey to Trinity. My name is Hussein. Happy to be with you. Happy you can be with me. It's my sign. Not working, but yes. Hope you have a blessed day. Hello, Tiger. God bless you. Bacon and IQ eating is inversely proportional. I don't know if you're referring to the debate between Andrew. What's his last? I don't know what his last name is, but Andrew and Daniel Hakikachu. My goodness, that one was like, dude, unbelievable. Yeah, it's like I had to keep closing my ears, like kept saying the F word, but um, but his point, you definitely that's one debate you cannot unsee, you cannot unhear. It's like you may forget other debates. That's one debate you'll never forget in your whole life. So, and Hakikachu, man, pathetic. Yeah. So, yeah, I actually went on Hakikachu's channel. I didn't. I mean, on the chat on Hakikachu's channel yesterday because Christian Prince was trying to get on his channel. And Christian Prince went over and he was saying, "Come on, let me on. I'm here. I'm here." And he did exactly like Zachar Naik did, just pretending he didn't see. He kept pretending, and then I was there and I was writing, "Come on, talk to Christian Prince. Christian Prince is here." And and then after about half an hour, he wasn't going to let Christian Prince on. And so Christian Prince said, I'm going to go back to my channel. So Christian Prince left, but I stayed for a little while. Because to be honest, I've never heard Daniel Hakichu. I've never been on his program, on his channel to see it. So I thought I want to listen a little bit. Dude, dude, so pathetic. Oh my goodness. That guy's a Harvard graduate. That's the best he can do. He's a Harvard graduate. That's the best he could do. It's just like, give me a break. So, okay, let me see. Thank you for prayers. My brother arrived at his home about 4 hours ago. All glory to God. After a harrowing 10-hour bus trip of about 107 miles, having been stopped at roadblocks, a double layover flight. Praise God. Thank God he got home safely. God bless you. Bless your brother and your family in Jesus' name. Hallelujah. Thank you for sharing that, Tiger. It's a blessing. Tell you what, man. You know what? I told you I have my little book that I pray every day. And if there goes a day where I don't pray it, you know what? I hear there's problems, stuff happens, with the people. And it's just like, I was like, my prayers are protection for them, and I'm saying that for me, but it's also true of all believers. All believers, it's true. Your prayers are protection for people. And some days you don't pray, you know, they you might see them go through hardship that they may have avoided if you had prayed for them. So it's very, very powerful to pray. Like E.M. Bounds said, it's the most powerful thing a man can do is to pray. So, well, God bless you guys. Yeah, I just wanted to kind of look at a particular verse in the Quran. It's a very strange verse, and it's right next to President Obama's favorite verse in the Quran, and not just President Obama. It's every Muslim's favorite verse when they go on CNN. Whenever a Muslim goes on CNN, this is his favorite verse in the Quran. It's the only verse anybody knows, okay, in the Quran when they go on CNN. And CNN, it's the only verse CNN knows. CNN doesn't know any other verse in the Quran. Uh, it's this verse. It says, "This is what we ordained for the children of Israel. Whoever takes a life, unless as punishment for murder or mischief in the land, it will be as if they killed all humanity. And whoever saves a life, it'll be as if they saved all humanity. Although our messengers already came with clear proofs." Okay, this is, of course, taken word for word from the Talmud and Midrash, I think, and but it's word for word. In fact, if you ever watched the movie, there was that movie Schindler's List a few years ago, about maybe not just a few years ago. I remember I was in Europe when it came out. I had been a missionary in Yugoslavia or Croatia, and I was on my way home and I heard about Schindler's List and I watched the movie. And at the end of Schindler's List, there's a scene where the one of the Jewish guys, he gives a ring, I think, to Schindler, and the ring has this verse on it. It says, "Whoever saves a life, it's as if they saved the whole world." You know, and so anyway, Muhammad stole it, of course, and put it in the Quran. He was called the Ear, and he took so much from the Talmud, so much from the Talmud. The other day, there's a guy on David Wood's program. I think he was saying like 70% of the Quran is Talmud. It's just Talmud. 70% of the Quran is just Talmud. The rest is from the Gnostic Gospels and Arabian poetry. You know, the Arabian poetry is the one about the moon split. And so, all right. But anyway, my focus isn't that verse, which is Obama's favorite verse, and every Muslim on TV, that's their favorite verse. It's this verse right here, which is this one is to the Muslims. It says, "Indeed, the penalty for those who wage war against Allah and His Messenger and spread mischief in the land is death, crucifixion, cutting off the hands and feet on opposite sides, or exile from the land. This penalty is a disgrace for them in this world, and they will suffer tremendous punishment in the hereafter." Why he doesn't just leave it for the hereafter? No, you have to. It is one of the most brutal verses in the Quran. It says, death. So apparently you die and then you're crucified, and then your hands are cutting off their hands and feet. How can you, okay? How can you be crucified if you don't have hands and feet? Okay, because it's cutting off the hands and feet on opposite side, crucifixion, death. It's like, is it all three? Is it one of them? Exile? It's like, I know anybody would prefer, like, please exile me. I'd love to leave this land. But this is Sharia. This is Islam. This is Quran. Okay, crucifixion, death, cutting off hands and feet on opposite side, and it's death first, then crucifixion, then cutting off the hands and feet on opposite side, then exile from the land. Or exile from the land. Let me see how it says it in Arabic. Okay. Okay. In Arabic, the word is وَيَسْعُونَ فِي الْأَرْضِ فَسَادًا. El-ard is the Arabic word for the earth. Ard. It's very close to the Hebrew. In the Hebrew, it's haaretz. 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 In Arabic, it's ard. Haaretz. Okay. Fasadan. Fasad is corruption in Arabic. The word for corruption in Arabic is fasad. El-ard fasad. Yas'un fil ard fasad. So they're spreading corruption in the land. Okay. And this is the punishment for that. Yuqtilu, which is to kill. Or yaslibu, or تقطع الأيدين وأرجلهم أيديهم وأرجلهم من خلف أو ينفوا من الأرض. You know, in the Arabic, it's funny that it's the English translations don't say this one doesn't say it correctly, but this one I think is right. Is that they shall be killed or be crucified, or have their hands and feet be cut off from different side, or they be kept away from the land they live in. So, okay, it's one of them. But my question when I read this is a horrendous punishment. It's one of the most brutal verses in the Quran. The only verse that I think competes with it in terms of its brutality is the one that says you got to cut people's fingertips off. Cut off their fingertips, their heads and fingertips and stuff. That's the only one that compares to this one in terms of brutality that I could think of. Is a brutal, hard, very, very super cruel beyond imagination punishment. And Muhammad inflicted it on someone, by the way. But the thing that there's a zillion problems with this verse and cruel and unusual punishment. But the problem, my biggest problem with this verse is is what is the crime that this punishment? We know the punishment is very clear. It is a very clear punishment. The Quran is so clear about the punishment. The punishment is extremely clear. But what is unclear is what is the crime that deserves this punishment. What is unclear is what is the crime that deserves this punishment. Okay? Indeed, the penalty for those who wage war against Allah. So are you declaring war on Allah? How do you do that? Is it a president who does it? Is it a president of a country? Is it a mayor? Is it a governor? Who is it that has the authority to wage war against Allah and his messenger? That's okay. But this one spread mischief in the land. That's the one, and there's in the Arabic, it doesn't say mischief, it says fasadin, which is corruption. They spread corruption in the land. Okay. And you know what? Actually, if you look at this verse, the verse right before it says the same thing too. It says, for the children, one who slew or spreading mischief in the land. This crime is mentioned here. So there's this death penalty implied for spreading mischief in the land. But it's not just death penalty. It's also hands and feet cut off and crucifixion and killing and exile for this crime of mischief, spreading mischief in the land. Now, what on earth is this crime? What on earth is this crime that deserves this unbelievable punishment? What does it mean? It's a very, very clear and devastating punishment, but the crime that leads to it, you really don't know. It's like, you don't know what the crime is. You know what the punishment is, but you don't know what the crime is. So we are going to try to find out what is the crime that deserves this horrendous, horrendous punishment. And so let me just see. I'm just kind of curious now how many verses in the Quran actually use that phrase, mischief in the land. Okay, let me just, I don't know if you can see this. Let me just put it up here so you guys can see that this phrase is used quite a bit in the Quran. It says here in 1185, give full measure of weight in justice and reduce not the things that are due to the people, and do not commit mischief in the land, causing corruption. They said, by Allah, I know that we came not to make mischief in the land. We are no thieves. Allah has commanded to be joined and make mischief in the land. Cut off the relationships. You're afraid of hearing that word cut off when you hear their mischief in the land. That's used quite a bit. Twice you will make mischief in the land and will commit transgression. Magog doing great mischief in the land. Who make mischief in the land and mend not their way, as Shu'ara. Shu'ara means the poets. Defraud not people by reducing their things, nor do evil, making corruption and mischief in the land. Who made mischief in the land and reform not, create mischief in the land. And look, it's in there so many times. I mean, there's 11 pages of this, so it's used a lot. But what is it? What is this crime that deserves this unbelievable cruelty? Okay. Well, let's just look at a couple of things about this. Let me just say, okay, I do have a few. Let me just look real quickly at some of the things I got here. Okay. It says, Yahya related to me from Malik, has heard of keeping gold and silver out of circulation is part of working corruption in the land. So if you have gold and silver and you're not kind of circulating it in the community, it's like causing corruption in the land. So does the person who does this have to have his hands and feet cut off and be crucified? It says, the messenger said, if there comes to you one, and this one is really strange. If there comes to you one whose character and religious commitment you are pleased, then marry your daughter or female relative under your care to him. For if we do not do that, there will be fitna in the land and widespread corruption. So if somebody comes from out of town and you think that they're really good people, they really seem real nice young men, then marry your daughter to them, or else there'll be fitna in the land, corruption in the land. Get your hands and feet cut off. Okay. Fighting is two kinds. Okay. God's favor. The one who seeks God's favor obeys the leader, gives property he values, helps his associate, and avoids doing mischief. Will have a reward for all. Okay. Reputation. Okay. But he who fights in a boasting spirit for the sake of display and to gain a reputation, who disobeys the leader and does mischief in the earth, will not return without credit or blame. I.e., wrong he has done exceeds the good. Okay, that doesn't really help us very much. But let me just show you a couple of other things here about this, because Ibn Kathir and Al-Mawdudi both have something to say about this. Let's just look at what they say about it. Okay. Let me just show you this, what Ibn Kathir and Al-Mawdudi say about corruption in the land. It says, if he kills, causes mischief in the land, or wages war against Allah and his messenger, and then joins rank with the disbelievers before the Muslims are able to catch him, he will still be liable for punishment for the crimes he committed. Okay, so one of the ways that you cause mischief in the land is by killing somebody. So for that, you can have your hands and feet cut off and be crucified. And causing mischief in the land. You see, he doesn't explain what that is, or wages war against Allah and his messenger. How do you wage war against Allah and his messenger? I'm just curious now. How do you wage war against Allah and his messenger? Let's see if we can get some insight into this crime. How should we understand you have waged? Okay. Okay, let's see if this will help us to understand this very oblique or very mysterious crime. Okay. Okay, let's see this right here. I'm not sure exactly what they're saying here, but it's worth a look here. They wage war against Allah and his messenger. Okay, here it says, what did they do? They devour usury. So they charge people interest. So if you charge people interest, you are committing war against Allah. Okay, so charging interest is a way to wage war against Allah and his messenger. They wage war against Allah and his messenger, for them is the curse of all the bounty in their sustenance is removed, and they will not stand except as stands one whom the evil one by his touch has driven to madness. They will be thrown into hell. Their abdomens are as big as houses, and there are snakes in them. They are held in a bloody river. When they want to come out, stones will be thrown at them. And they will have to go back to the middle of the river. Who are they? Those who devour usury. So if you charge interest, you guys, you are, it says, oh, you who fear Allah remains in demand if you are believers. If you do not take notice of war from Allah and okay, so don't charge interest. America, all the credit card companies. So one way to wage war against Allah is to charge interest. So if you charge people interest, and you know who says this? Let me see if I can find the video. Let me see if I can find the video here. It's when Linda Sarsour was talking about Sharia law coming to America. She says the only thing that the Sharia law is going to do, it means that you're not going to have to pay interest on your credit cards. So anyway, but so let's go ahead and see the rest of that. Okay. All right. All right, let's look what El Maududi says. To wage war against Allah and his messenger is to wage war against the righteous system of the government established by the Islamic State. So if you resist the Islamic State, that would be ISIS, you are waging war against Allah. Okay, so that's one way to wage war against Allah and his messenger. Let's see here. I'm going to play a video actually for you. This is in Arabic, but I will translate it for you. Okay. This guy right here is going to tell us how to wade, what does it mean? What does it mean to spread corruption in the land? Okay. Okay. Let me get it here for you. This guy, I use him a lot. His Arabic is his recording quality is pretty good. His video quality, and so his okay. And I'll tell you what he's saying.
لا تفسدوا في الأرض بعد إصلاحها. إما أن يكون الإفساد
He's saying, what does it mean to spread corruption
في الأرض ما يراه
in the land?
الناس كقتل الأنفس وحرق البيوت وإتلاف الزروع. ما يراه الناس كقتل في الأرض ما يراه الناس
that people don't see him. I'm not sure.
كقتل الأنفس
killing souls, people,
وحرق البيوت
burning houses,
وإتلاف الزروع. هذا إفساد.
This is corruption.
في الأرض. أو يكون الإفساد في الأرض بعد إصلاحها أي الكفر بعد الإيمان.
Okay, the second way you spread corruption in the land is to disbelieve after you have been a Muslim, meaning to leave Islam is a way to spread corruption in the land. And you guys remember, and somebody mentioned this, Ali Dawah, when he was saying why apostates should be killed. And that's where he says that he'll be watching and we'll be proud of it. Remember? And we'll be proud of it. And so on that video, he talks about corruption in the land, spreading corruption in the land, drinking and driving. And Ali Dawah has a different definition of spreading corruption in the land. You guys, that's, according to the Quran, if you spread corruption in the land, you're supposed to have your hands and feet cut off. You're supposed to be crucified. Yeah, so all of these things this guy is saying, you burn people's houses, you kill people, and then apostasy. Those are corruption in the land. And you can be killed and crucified for that.
والمعصية بعد الطاعة. فإما أن يكون شيئا ظاهرا للناس وهو إفساد البلاد.
Something that is visible to people, the corruption of the country.
أعيانها المعروفة، وإما أن يكون بالمعاصي.
It can also be in disobedience.
الإفساد.
Corruption.
بعد إصلاحها، إما بعد إصلاح بنيانها وعمارتها وكذا، وإما إصلاح بالطاعات.
So that's one video where they talk about it. And there's another one. Sorry, these videos are all in Arabic, so they're dependent on me unless you understand Arabic. But I want this in case some Muslims are watching. I'd love for them to hear this. This is what the Quran says you're supposed to do to people who cause corruption in the land. Well, what does it mean to cause corruption in the land? Nobody really knows, but they got some ideas. Okay.
أعظم فساد وإفساد في الأرض. أعظم فساد وإفساد في الأرض.
The greatest corruption in the land
هو فساد التوحيد وإفساده.
فساد التوحيد. أفساده هو أعظم فساد في الأرض. Okay, where you spread corruption about the teaching of Tawheed. Okay, about saying that Allah is one and there's no gods but Allah. If you corrupt this or miscommunicate this or change this in any way, that's the greatest corruption in the land. Now, does that mean people who don't believe in that and who teach Trinity, that they are causing corruption in the land? According to this guy, it sounds like it. Well, what is the punishment for causing corruption in the land? Cut your hands and feet off and crucify you. So.
لهذا هؤلاء الذين يشرعون للناس عبادة القبور وتعظيم.
And those who go and pray to people in their graves,
الأولياء
and they go and they talk to their ancestors,
عبادة القبور وتعظيمها
the worshiping of graves at graves. I guess that doesn't include if you go to Medina or to Karbala or to all these famous tombs and graves that Muslims go to pray at.
الأولياء بالغلو فيهم والاستغاثة بهم من دون الله عز وجل، هؤلاء هم أكثر فسادا من أصحاب الفجور.
This is the greatest corruption.
الذين صرفوا الناس عن الله تبارك وتعالى.
Those who take people away from Allah
إلى هؤلاء قطاع الطريق.
To the caravan robbers. Those who take people away from Allah to the caravan and lead them to the caravan robbers.
يسميهم ابن القيم قطاع الطريق. هؤلاء.
That's what that is what the Quran says. The Quran says that those who support the caravan robbers, that's corruption in the land.
قطعوا الطريق عليك يا مسكين. صرفوك عن الله تبارك وتعالى.
They stole you away from Allah.
فأعظم فساد وإفساد في الأرض هو صرف الناس.
The greatest corruption in the land is to direct people away
عن خالقهم سبحانه
from Allah
وتعالى وعن ربهم صاحب النعمة,
the gracious one,
صاحب الفضل العظيم عليهم. هذا صاحب القبر ولا له فضل عليك. كيف عبدته من دون الله؟ هو
He says, how did you worship those as God?
خلقك, هو رزقك,
He created
هو
you.
أعطاك, هو منعك,
He
هو
gave
شفاك,
you.
هو فعل لك, ولا سوى لك شيء.
Okay, so you know, one of the reasons I'm showing this, you guys, is because in all honesty, I'm kind of hoping you see that nobody knows what this is. Nobody knows what the crime is, the actual crime of causing corruption in the land. Nobody really knows what it is. You know, everybody's got nice little ideas for it, but and they have no question about the punishment. The punishment is very clear: amputation, crucifixion, and death penalty. But what is the crime? It could be a zillion different things, depending who you talk to.
لا تفسدوا في الأرض.
It says, don't make corruption in the land.
قالوا إنما نحن مصلحون.
They said, we're good.
وكذبهم الله جل وعلا مرة أخرى في هذا الادعاء الكاذب.
And Allah disgraced them for this dishonest claim.
ألا إنهم هم المفسدون ولكن لا يشعرون.
And he said, they are the corrupt ones.
لا تفسدوا في الأرض.
Don't be corrupt in the land.
وأخطر فساد في الأرض هو
And the greatest corruption on the earth
الكفر.
is disbelief, to not be a Muslim. That's the greatest corruption in the land, is to not be a Muslim.
هو نفاق الاعتقاد.
And to break and to be hypocritical about your beliefs. To be hypocritical about your beliefs.
ويليه نفاق العمل. لا تفسدوا في الأرض بعد إصلاحها بعد أن أصلحها الله.
And do not cause corruption in the land after you've been reconciled to God
التوحيد.
and believed in Tawheed.
بعد أن أصلحها الله بالفطرة التي فطر الناس عليها. فطرة الله التي فطر الناس عليها.
Allah has chosen everybody. You know, everybody is born a Muslim, you know.
كما قال سيدنا رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم في الصحيحين كل مولود يولد على الفطرة.
Every human being is born a Muslim. By the way, guys, no human being is born a Christian. They say every human being is born a Muslim. Our response is no human being is born a Christian. No human being is born a Christian. Okay? Human beings have to be born again to become a Christian. But we are not born Christians, we're born sinners, or we're born Muslims. But we are born again as Christians. You have to be born again in the Spirit.
فأبواه يهودانه أو ينصرانه أو يمجسانه لكن هؤلاء أفسدوا الأرض.
And then he gave a whole list of the Hindus and all the different beliefs, including Christians. It says those are the ones who bring corruption in the land. Now, if what he's saying is true, what is the punishment for causing corruption in the land? Amputation, crucifixion, death penalty.
بعد إصلاحها بالشرك، بنفاق الاعتقاد، بنفاق العمل.
Denying your beliefs. Okay? Denying your beliefs.
بالكذب،
Lying. Oh boy, yeah. Lying now is corruption in the land.
بخلاف الوعد، بالغدر
Breaking your promise.
في العهد، بخيانة الأمانة.
Betraying your trust.
بالأمر بالمنكر، بالنهي عن المعروف.
نهي عن المعروف. Denying what is known.
بالبخل وقبض الأيدي.
And بالمخ, and the kissing of hands. I guess in a hypocritical way, kissing of hands and stuff. Dude, this guy is defining all of these actions. All of these actions are considered corruption in the land. All of these actions are caused corruption in the land. Dude, if that's true, that means that people who do them, they tell a lie, crucify them, amputate them, kill them, because that's the punishment for corruption in the land.
بالموالاة للكافرين. بالموالاة للكافرين.
And then having friends who are disbelievers.
وبالمعاداة للمؤمنين. هذا إفساد، بل هذا أخطر أنواع الإفساد. يتولى هؤلاء ليفسدوا في الأرض.
To be friending unbelievers is causing corruption in the land. It's the greatest corruption. How many greatest corruptions have there been so far? Every one of them. The greatest corruption in the land is this. The greatest corruption in the land is charging interest. The greatest corruption in the land is denying Tawheed. The greatest corruption in the land is, it's like, give me a break, man. Everything is the greatest corruption.
ويزعمون أنهم مصلحون.
And they claim that they are peaceful.
يريدون الخير للأمة ويريدون
Want good things for the nation.
الخير للبلد ويريدون الخير للوطن، وهم دعاة الإصلاح الحقيقي. والإصلاح الحقيقي أن نبتعد عن القرآن.
But they say they're on the right way, but they go far away from the Quran.
نبتعد عن السنة وأن نبتعد عن الإسلام.
And they go far away from the Hadith, and they go far away from Islam.
وأن نبتعد عن محمد.
And they go far away from Muhammad.
نبتعد عن العلماء، فهم
And they go far away from all the Islamic scholars.
رمز التخلف والتأخر
And they go backwards, and they're backwards and regressive.
والتحجر والتضييق والعطن الفكري. لا.
And they have a pride in their own thoughts.
لا نريد هذا أبدا.
We don't want this at all.
اتباع دقيق لسلوك غير المسلمين.
And to follow the ways of the non-Muslims.
تتبعن سنن من كان قبلكم.
So anyway, this guy's got a lot of things that bring corruption in the land. I mean, he's got a truckload of corruptibilities. He's got a truckload of stuff that is corruption in the land. And again, my question is, well, if that's what corruption in the land is, does that mean that you use that punishment, amputation, crucifixion, death penalty? Because that's what the Quran says. It doesn't tell you what corruption in the land is, but it does tell you what the punishment for it is. So you can kind of make up whatever you want and say that it is corruption in the land. Like we've heard already about 20 different infringements of, or acts that could be considered corruption in the land. We've heard about 20, 30 so far. Well, the punishment is amputation, crucifixion, and death penalty for that. The mysterious crime that nobody knows and everybody claims to know. And yet the punishment is so severe. I mean, thank goodness nobody obeys this verse. But man, can you imagine if they did?
إذا قامت القيامة انتهى كل شيء. إذا قامت القيامة لم تبقى مخلوقات. فكيف أن رسول الله يدعو إن استطاع الإنسان أن يغرس فليغرس. علما
A person, a human being, the prophet says, if somebody can, let him plant. And if he can plant, let him plant like a tree.
ما عاد فيه أمة بعدنا ستستفيد. إذا قامت القيامة قامت على الأمم.
If the day of resurrection comes, it has come upon the whole nation,
قامت على المخلوقات.
on all creation.
لكن كأن رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم أراد أن يؤصل ذلك في نفوس البشر. العناية.
But he wanted to put this in the souls of all people.
العناية بالشجر.
To care for trees.
بل إنه نهى أن تقلع شجرة في حرب.
And it's forbidden to even cut down trees in war.
علما أن قلع الشجر بالمفهوم الاقتصادي قد يضر بالعدو.
And you think in an economic way that cutting down trees, you're hurting the enemy.
يعني لماذا ما أجعل عليه حرب نفسية بأن أحرق الشجر ولا أقلع؟ قال لا.
He says you can hurt your enemy by burning a tree. He said no.
لأن هذا من الفساد في الأرض.
This is corruption in the land. So if you cut down a tree, that is corruption in the land. So if you cut down a tree, you're going to have your hands and feet cut off, or be amputated, be crucified, or executed. And you guys would think I'm joking. This is what it says. It says this is one of the things that causes corruption in the land. So if you cut down a tree, that is causing corruption in the land. If you cut down a tree, that's causing corruption in the land. Okay, so you guys, be careful. Be careful. If Sharia law comes to Dearborn, you guys are going to be in trouble. Okay. This is Hamza Yusuf. He's well known.
And so let's look at the signs on the horizon. I want to look at the vital signs of our planet, just as a physician would look at it. Allah says in Surah Ar-Rum, and it's significant that it's in this chapter, which is the chapter of the Europeans. ظهر الفساد في البر والبحر بما كسبت أيدي الناس ليذيقهم بعض الذي عملوا لعلهم يرجعون. The lamb there is for causation again, in order to let them taste. So mischief, corruption, pollution, all of these negative attributes are bound up in that word fasad. Fasad al-shay, it means it went bad. Mischief has appeared on the land and sea because of the meed, the reward that the hands of men have earned. All of these are meanings embodied in that word. If you look at the word pollution in the English language, and this is taken from a dictionary, undesirable state of the natural environment being contaminated with harmful substances as consequences of human earth to have this war on terrorism. And yet people, look at all these people suffering and dying from air pollution.
So essentially, you guys, another way to cause corruption in the land is the one way to look at corruption in the land is that corruption in the land is climate change. Corruption in the land is climate change. So yes, if you engage in climate change, you are causing corruption in the land. And what's the punishment for it? Amputation, crucifixion, death penalty. So Anyway, so you have this very mysterious crime. Nobody knows what it is, but the punishment, everybody knows what it is. So think about, Allah never said those things. Muhammad did. Allah is a Christian in the original Quran. Well, so yeah, so anyway, you have all of these different alleged crimes that are supposedly Sarsur, Linda Sarsur equals cockroach. We did a video of that. I have a friend of mine, his name is Hazem, and we did a video about that, about her name meaning Sarsur, and that video got over 200,000 views. It was so popular, but I got into bad trouble for it, but it was really fun. So 4 witnesses. So anyway, you guys, just kind of show you that, you know, this reminds me also of Quran 4:34, where it tells you, where it says to a man that you can beat your wife. And it says, you know, first admonish her, send her to bed apart, and then beat her, strike her. But, you know, that's very harsh punishment. But what is the crime? What is the crime that she has committed that leads to her punishment? It is that the man fears disloyalty from her. So the crime is extremely vague. And you know the problem with that, you guys, is in both cases, you know the problem with the crime being vague? You know the problem with the crime being vague is that you can define it however you want. You can define it however you want. And so what is the punishment for which a guy's supposed to beat his wife according to the Quran? It could be you're afraid she's going to burn the food. You're afraid she's going to embarrass you. Because it's not clear. It says if you fear, in Arabic the word is nushuz. In takhafun nushuzahum. You know, if you fear their possible misbehavior. And that's so unclear, but the problem is with that and with the corruption in the land and waging war on Allah is that they're so unclear that you can say anything, just like all these guys I just showed you. What, you know, what is corruption in the land? What is the crime that people might commit for which they're going to have their hands and feet amputated and be crucified and be killed and exiled from the land? It could be lying. It could be being hypocritical. It could be being an apostate. It could be being a disbeliever in Islam. It could be burning, cutting down a tree. It could be lying to people. It could be contributing to climate change. According to these guys, why do they have all these ridiculous definitions of what corruption in the land is? Why do they have all of these horrendous definitions for what corruption in the land is? Because the Quran is so unclear. The crime is so unclear, but the punishment isn't. The punishment is very, very, very clear and devastating. And so that's what's dangerous about being unclear about the offense, but being clear about the punishment, but unclear about the crime itself. So the Quran does this a lot. It tells you the punishment, and it's one thing if it says you're going to go to hell and you're going to get 14 extra, beatings or something like that. That's one thing if it says that, but it doesn't say that. It's talking about punishment in the here and now. Now, did Muhammad ever inflict this punishment on anybody? Yes, he did. Yes, he did. Remember, there was these guys who came to Muhammad, and you can find this particular story. You can find it. It's in several places, but Ibn Abbas, Jalalain. Jalalain is the one. There's actually two different stories, but Jalalain and Ibn Abbas, they both tell a different story where this punishment was inflicted. One is some people had come to Muhammad. They wanted to say that they want to become Muslims, and they did, and Muhammad gave them some gifts and stuff and sent them away. And then on their way, some people killed them and stuff. And so Muhammad took those people and inflicted this kind of punishment on them. Then there's a very famous story. It's a very well-known story where some guys came to Muhammad and they had a stomach ache. They had stomach aches. They had pain in their stomachs. And Muhammad said, I have the answer. Muhammad said, I have the answer. You have to drink camel urine. You have to go drink camel urine. And so these guys had to go to this camel shepherd, I don't know what they call him, camel herder, and to go get some camel urine. And he had to go get some camel urine. And so they went, they found the camel urine store, shepherd, and they got the camel urine from him. And they drank it, and they felt better, And after they drank the urine, they felt better, and everything was fine. But then they turned around and they killed the guy and took his camels. They killed the guy and took his camels. Well, Muhammad heard about it. What did he do? He chased them down. He got those guys and he cut their hands and feet off. He cut their hands and feet off, and then he would not. He let them lie there in the desert. Lie in the desert, and they were so thirsty that they were biting on the sand. It says they were biting on the sand because they were so thirsty they needed water, and then he let them die that way. And so Muhammad inflicted this punishment. He did, this is how cruel, Of course, they were criminals. They deserved that, but do you have to do it that way? Has to be that way? And then make it a commandment in the Quran? Make it a commandment in the Quran? Oh, yes. Thank you, Howdy, Mad Tuna. Thank you. Yes, he also took, this is a very important point. Thank you for reminding. I was trying to remember this, but I forgot. Okay, it was like he took nails, hot nails. He put them in the fire and he put them in their eyes, and they punched their eyes out too. Now, the Quran doesn't talk about doing that to their eyes, but Muhammad does exceedingly abundantly above, when it comes to cruelty, exceedingly abundantly above what is written, even by Muhammad, by Allah, excuse me. And so, yeah, they took those hot nails, put it in their eyes, and then cut their hands and feet off, and they left them. You know what? We may as well, since we're almost done here, go ahead and read it, because it's actually in the where is that? Corruption. Okay, it's 533. Okay. Let me just show you this, because we can actually read this. This is in Jalalain. This is in Jalalain. So we can go ahead and read it together. Quran X. Okay. Commentaries. Jalalain 533. Okay. Okay, you guys can see it. Okay, it says the following verse was revealed when Arniun came to Medina suffering from some illness. The prophet gave him permission to go drink from the camel's urine and milk. Once they felt well, they slew the prophet's shepherd and stole the herd of camels. Truly, the only requital of those who fight against God and his messenger. Okay, so these guys were fighting against Allah and his messenger. So this is one way to wage war against them, by fighting against Muslims. Okay, so if you fight against Muslims, it's like you're fighting against Allah and his messenger. And hasten about the earth to do corruption by waylaying is that they be slaughtered or crucified or have their hands and feet cut off on opposite side. That is their right hands and left feet, or be banished from the land. The or is used to indicate in Arabic, separate application of each of the cases listed. Thus, death is for those that have only killed. Crucifixion is for those that have killed and stolen property. The cutting off of limbs is for those who have stolen property but have not killed, while banishment is for those who pose a threat. This was stated by Ibn Abbas, is the opinion of a Shafi'i, and more sound of his Shafi'i two opinions is that crucifixion should be for 3 days after the death of the killer. Or is also said that he be killed with banishment are included. Okay. So anyway, this is, you know what? I wanted to see the Ibn Abbas version. Ibn Abbas was, he's Muhammad's cousin, so he knows all this stuff. Made war upon, engage in the land wrongfully and taking properties. I don't think that they are going to include. Okay. There's one last thing I just want to look at. Because I looked, I think it's Ibn Kathir actually. Ibn Kathir has a little bit of a different take on stuff, and it was kind of interesting. I read it. Let's just look what Ibn Kathir says. Okay. It says here, anyone, if a person is killed in retaliation, causing mischief in the land, it says if he, okay. Okay, the Banu Qurayza, okay, Kainuka, okay. Okay, okay. 8 people came to the messenger and gave him their pledge to follow Islam. Medina's climate did not suit them. They became sick and complained. So he said to the shepherd, go drink the urine of camels. They drank the urine, came healthy, and killed the shepherd. And the prophet sent men in pursuit of them. He ordered that their hands and feet be cut off and that their eyes were branded with heated pieces of iron. Next, they were put in the sun until they died. This is the wording of Muslim. Yeah, but yeah. And these people were from the tribes of Uqul or Urayna. Another narration reported these people were put in the Hara of Al-Medina, and they asked for water, but no water was given. They shall be crucified and the hands and feet cut off. Okay, so beauty of Islam, of Muhammad, his cruelties, unparalleled cruelty of Muhammad. Okay, guys. So anyway, I just wanted to. I had scheduled this already. I'm sorry. I know that Hatun Tash and the group are doing a live stream on her channel right now with David Wood and all them. So if you guys want to go check that out, it looks really interesting. They got Thaddeus and Vocab and Arthur and a bunch of our top people. So God bless you guys. Thank you for hanging out. If you haven't done it, please do it now. Jesus help me. Jesus forgive me. You know what I'm going to do too? I'm going to play one of my songs. Since it's almost Christmas, I'll play my Christmas song. Let me just see if I got this. Okay, I'll just play this song for you. This is one of my one of the songs I wrote. So.
Got his first guitar when he was just 17. A jukebox hero, he was sure he would be. The years passed on slowly and the decades did too. A dream he thought that maybe wasn't meant to come true. He tucked it away inside a safe in a vault. If he ever heard it knocking, he would turn up the volume of television station where the rockers would roll. If a tear came to his eye, he'd go out for a stroll. The rocker will be rocking, he's gonna be playing tonight. And it doesn't even matter if there's a state or even a spotlight. Staring at his tiny senior citizen reel, he breaks the yoke as slowly he's beginning to feel. A dream that he was so sure he had long laid to rest, but it's beating like a fire in the pit of his chest. He felt it back then, and now he feels it again. He takes out his guitar, starts a picking and grinning, and the music and the melodies are starting to flow. And it doesn't really matter any rhythm goes. The rocker will be rocking, he's gonna be playing tonight. And it doesn't even matter if there's a stick or even a spotlight. At the Northern Star Pavilion, he was playing his song. He fell down on the stage as he was strumming along. The few who heard him singing kept on singing and crying. They knew the dream of one of them had finally died. But even before the tears on earth could be dried, the gates of heaven up above were open wide. And St. Peter met one of them with the golden keys on. And he said, hey, we've been waiting, you're our favorite